Hey yo, it's the GTA Pro, and today I'm gonna teach you how to drift properly after the new update. After this video, you'll be able to do stuff like this, pretty cool gnarly reverse entries. You'll also be able to do reverse drifts like this, and you'll be able to also drift normally and pull some incredible stunts. If you watch the whole video, like and subscribe. Let's get into it. So first thing you're gonna need to learn is to use the brakes, guys. You want to be able to modulate the angle of the car by using the brakes. As you can see here, I'm doing a donut without steering at all. I'm just modulating the brakes every so often to keep the car where I want it to be. Okay, now for drifting you actually want to use the brakes as well while you're drifting. So in between transitions, as you can see here, I press on the brakes before I transition, and also inside the drifts you can press the brakes to hold the certain angle that you want, just so the drifts is going to be much more smooth. As you can see here, mid-drift I kind of touch the brakes sometimes. Here I definitely touch the brakes. As you can see, if you hold the brakes when you're about to crash, it will actually stabilize the car. And as you can see, before transitions and while I'm transitioning, I will actually press on the brakes. And there's a lot of cool tricks you can do by pressing the brakes. If you press them really fast or at high RPM, the exhaust will begin to fire rapidly. So the reason why I'm teaching you guys to use the brakes is, in this example, the first example you saw, it is very obvious that I'm gonna spin out the car, and I hold the brakes to save the angle and to basically correct the car from spinning out. Now in these later examples it is much harder to see, but if you notice, the front wheel is actually stopping for a little bit, so that gives the front traction. That's how it works in GTA. So for the 360s, there's nothing really I can teach you about. The normal ones, you just throw them and the car spins around perfectly in the direction of the drift. But for the reverse drift, as you can see here, I will be using the brakes to stop the car when the transition finishes. And it is very obvious when you use the brakes. You can literally see the rim stop spinning. Now one thing I forgot to mention, that these handlings are all-wheel drive. They are not rear-wheel drive. So the moment you start treating the handling like an all-wheel drive rally car, it's actually going to be a lot smoother. You don't want to be always counter steering. Counter steering is very minimal with these handlings, and if you counter steer a lot, your drifts are not going to be looking smooth at all. Alright, so let's start with the meat and potatoes. Reverse drifting. Guys, it is not as hard as you might think it is. It is very easy. The first thing you want to do is stop the car and start doing some reverse donuts. You will quickly find out that it is very easy to spin out while reverse drifting. So to combat that, you have to be modulating the throttle, guys. And for the transitions, you might notice that if you're full on gassing it, it will not want to transition. What you have to do is either let go of the gas slightly or tap the handbrake. By tapping the handbrake, the rear is gonna slow down and it's gonna allow you to transition. Okay, another tip I can give you is, if you notice you're about to crash into something, you can actually extend the drift, the reverse drift, by tapping the brakes. This is why we went over the brakes and we got you used to using the brakes, because the brakes will be very useful here. If you're about to crash, you can just tap the brakes and it will slide the car as if you're using a handbrake. As you can saw probably here, I tapped it a lot, and as you can see, it saved the car from crashing into the wall. It's basically like using the handbrake but in reverse. And that's pretty much it, guys. You just need to start doing donuts and feather the throttle, use the handbrake when you want to transition and it's not transitioning, and overall it is pretty easy to reverse drift. There's nothing difficult about it. If you listened carefully and you practice all the tips that I gave you before this, reverse drifting is actually going to be very, very easy for you. It's going to feel almost like a joke. So here's an example of how your drifting is going to look after you have watched the whole video. You basically have full control over the vehicle. You'll be able to do whatever maneuver you want. You'll be able to go in reverse whenever you want. You'll be able to save the car from any spin out. And most importantly, you're gonna have a lot of swaggy moves to show to your friends and basically boast that you're the best drifter because you learned from the best. Guys, I've been doing this in video games for over 15 years. It's something like 16 years I've been doing this in video games. Yes, that's a very long time. I do also drift in real life. I have one asphalt car and one off-road drift car, but both are drift cars. One is for asphalt, one is for off-road use. And yeah, subscribe, like. Very soon I'll have real life videos because I blew the motor on my off-road vehicle and I don't want to post asphalt illegal drifting. I want to post only legal stuff. So that's coming very soon, guys. Like and subscribe. Here you're gonna see the best drifting tricks ever.